In the previous video, we finished C1, and in today's video, we're going to be covering F1, F2, and F3. I can complete calculations in the correct order. So we've got a key information table here. Step 1 is to check which operation is on a higher level. Step 2 is to replace. And finally, step 3 is to bring the rest down. Pause the video here so you can write this down and refer to it whenever we're doing questions of these types. Here's a question for us to try. 20 subtract 3 multiplied by 2. As you can see, our pyramid is over here and we've got our step 1, which is to check which operation is on a high level. So we're going to be comparing subtracting and multiplying. I can see multiplying is higher than subtracting, so I need to start with that first. So if I do that, I need to replace this information. 3 times 2 is 6. Once I've done that, I then need to finally bring down whatever I've got next. So notice I need to bring down both the 20 and the subtracting because that is what I have left over. So if I bring that down, I will have 20 subtract 6, and this is an operation that we can easily do, which gives us 14. Here's 2 questions for you to now try. Pause the video here. Here's the solutions. Make sure that you self-assess your work. So for the first question, we need to divide first. So we need to do 10 divided by 5, which gives us 2. Once we've done that, we then need to bring down the rest of the information. 7 add 2 is what we get once we've brought it down, which gives us 9. For the last question, we need to first multiply. So we need to do 1 times 3, which gives us 3. Then we need to bring down the subtracting 2 completely down. 3 subtract 2 will give us 1. That's the end of F1, and we are now ready to start looking at F2. Before we move on to F2, we're going to revisit our concept. So this is our bid mass pyramid we should know from earlier on. What happens if operations are on the same level? So if we've got a division and a multiplication, or if we've got an addition and a subtraction, both present in the question that we are working with. If this is the case, if 2 operations are on the same level, we start working from left to right. Let's now add these additions onto the bid mass pyramid. So I'm going to add this in the middle level and the last level. Pause the video here so that you can take a note of this. I can complete calculations in the correct order when I have to go from left to right. So we've got key information here. Pause the video here and you can take a note of this as well as your bid mass pyramid as well. Let's have a look at an example together and put it into practice. So we've got 6 times 3 divided by 2. So we've got a division and a multiplication, both present in the question. Remember, if they're on the same level, we start working from left to right. So we need to first do 6 times 3, which is going to be 18. Then we need to bring down the rest of what we've got above. So the division and the 2 need to come down below. Then we've got 18 divided by 2. We can simply solve that and that will give us 9. Here's a question for you to try. Pause the video here. Here's the solutions. Make sure that you self-assess your work. So again, we can see we've got an addition and a subtraction both present and they're on the same level. We need to start working from left to right. So we add to get 59, then bring it down. 59 subtract 22 gives us 37. Let's have a look at a different type of question. 4 times 2 subtract 12 divided by 3. You'll notice there are 3 different operations here. 2 of those are on the same level and the final one isn't. So we've got a multiplication and a division and a subtraction. We can see that the multiplication and division will have higher priority than the subtraction. However, we can see we've got 2 operations on the same level, so we must work from left to right. So we're going to start off with doing 4 times 2 before we do 12 divided by 3. Once we've done that, we can replace this information with 8. Then we need to bring down the rest of what we got above. If we do that, we can see we've got subtraction and a division. So division has higher priority than subtraction. So we need to work out 12 divided by 3 and we're going to replace that with 4. Then when we do that, finally, we need to bring down the 8 and the subtraction down. And we've got a simple calculation over here. So we're going to simply do 8 subtracted 4, which is going to give us 4. Here's 2 questions for you to try. Pause the video here. Here's the solutions. Make sure that you self-assess your work. So we're going to discuss the first question first. So we've got a subtraction, multiplication, and an addition. Remember, if we look at our pyramid, multiplication does indeed come before the addition or the subtraction. So we need to work out 3 times 5, which is 15. Replace that, bring the rest of it down. Once we've done that, we've got a subtraction and addition. They're on the same level, so we must work from left to right. Once we've done that, we must get an answer of 0. Let's now look at the second question. If you've got this correct, self-assess your answers. So we've got a multiplication, subtraction, and a division. Division and multiplication are on the same level, so we must work from left to right. So we initially start with 6 times 3, which is 18. Bring the rest of it down. And then we've got 10 divided by 5. We replace that with 2. And again, we must not forget to bring the rest of it down. Then we've finally got 18 subtract the 2, which is going to simply give us 16. And that's the end of F2, and we are now ready to start looking at F3. I can complete calculations in the correct order, including brackets. Let's have a look at this very simple example. We've got 4 times 8 in a bracket, and then we're subtracting 12. On our pyramid, we can see brackets comes first, so we need to replace 4 times 8 with 32. Once we've done that, we must not forget to bring the rest of it down, and then 32 subtract 12 gives us 20. Let's have a look at a different example. We've got this time 6 times 3 subtract 2 in a bracket, then we're adding 20. You will notice this time we've got 2 operations inside our bracket. What happens here is we must circle the operations and we need to compare which one comes higher. We can see multiplication is higher than subtraction, so we need to deal with that first. 6 times 3 is 18, then we must subtract 2 in a bracket and then add 20. Notice it's in a bracket because initially it was in a bracket, so we can't take the bracket out. Then we can simply do the brackets next because we've got brackets and an addition. So 18 subtract the 2, replace it with 16. Bring the rest of it down. Then we've got 16, add the 20, which is 36. Let's look at our final example. This time here we've got 2 brackets. 6 times 3 in a bracket divided by 20, subtract 18. Now with our brackets here, we can see they're on the same level, so we must work from left to right. If they're on the same level, left to right. 6 times 3, we're going to circle that first. Once we do that, we need to replace it with 18. Then we need to bring the rest of it down. Don't forget to put the 20 subtract 18 in a bracket. Then we can work with the brackets next because that does appear higher than the division. So we need to replace 20 subtract by 18 with 2. Then bring the rest of it down. And we've got simply 18 divided by 2, which is equal to 9. Here's 3 questions for you to try. Pause the video here. Here's the solutions for this one. Brackets first, replace it with 22, then sum the 22 and the 428, which gives us 450. For this question, we've got 2 brackets. Remember, if they're on the same level of equal priority, then we start from left to right. Replace that with 36, bring the rest of it down, then deal with the brackets, replace it with 60, bring the rest of it down. 36 subtract 60 gives us negative 24. Remember, we're subtracting a bigger number from a smaller one, so we should get a negative answer. For this question, it might look a bit complicated, but we're going to work through it one by one. So we've got a division and a subtraction inside the bracket. So we can see that division is higher than the subtraction. So we replace it with 15, bring the rest of it down. Then once we've done that, we need to deal with the brackets. 15 subtract 2, replace with 13. Bring the rest of it down. This should look a lot easier. We've got a multiplication and a subtraction. Multiplication comes first, so we replace it with 26, bring the rest of it down. 26 subtract the 4 gives us 22. And that's the end of F3. So in this video today, we've covered F1, F2, and F3. That's the end of the video.